are you ready to make some changes this election?
Yeah!
Good, because we've got a lot to do here, and this office is going to be working every single day between now and the election to make sure that our candidates are victorious come November. My name is Drew Mercy. I'm the local Republican Party chair. It's a volunteer position. I'd like to start off by introducing you to some of our other Republican Party leadership here in the Antelope Valley. Marvin Christ, many of you know, our wonderful Vice Mayor of Lancaster. Marvin also has been elected to the Central Committee, serves as our Vice Chairman. Lisa Moulton is here. Lisa? In addition to serving as the District Coordinator for Senator Steve Knight, she serves as our Secretary for the Central Committee. Josh Mann is here. Josh has recently joined the committee, and we appreciate his hard work. Larry Grooms. Let's see, and we also have Phyllis Riley, the president of Antelope Valley Republican Assembly. Well, we've got some very special guests for you here today. Some folks that have put themselves out because they know that the leadership in this state needs some changes, and we need to do things right in order to rebuild the California dream and allow people to prosper. First off, I'd like to introduce you to Pete Peterson. Some of you may have met Pete. He's been here before. He's taken on the task of running for State Secretary of State. It's a very important position in terms of business, in terms of voters, and he's one of our best candidates running statewide, and I think you're going to like what you have to hear. So if I just
That's true. It is an honor to be back here. I bring you greetings from the People's Republic of Santa Monica, which is where I come from. As I like to say, I'm one of 4 Republicans there. So in some ways, while it's 20 degrees cooler, there's no way there would be a gathering like this in Santa Monica. So it's great to be here. I'm very excited about this year. Was just speaking with someone here over in the corner. I think this is a very unique opportunity for Republicans. You might have heard about my race. My day job is I head up a policy institute at Pepperdine. I've never run for statewide office before. We made it through the primary in the top 2, only 0.5% behind Alex Padilla, who outraised us by 15-1. We lost. Took second place by 22,000 votes statewide. And just to put that into some context, we lost LA County by over 100,000 votes. We won 40 of 58 counties, but obviously we did not win LA. So being here and doing well in this area and closing the gap between Alex and myself, I really think is one of the real hinges upon which my race is going to run. So I think there are a couple reasons why I've been told we're doing pretty well. Number one is I have a great name, right? I mean, Pete Peterson. Come on. I mean, and something about that name, wherever I speak, I hear people say, you know, I know a Pete Peterson, and he is a great guy. You know, that name has always been a curse to me growing up as a kid. I always got made fun of, and, you know, Pete Peterson, wow, your parents are really creative. And I'd have to say it's a Norwegian thing. I don't expect you to understand, but...
Yeah, it's Norwegian.
That's right. That's right. The second reason is that I've been told that we did pretty well is because of my looks. Apparently I look like a politician, which I get told all the time. I was speaking at an event in Monterey County for their Central Committee, and the woman came up to me afterwards and said, Pete, you look just like a senator. And I said, well, ma'am, you know, Harry Reid is a senator. I'm not sure if that's a compliment. And she said, no, you've just got that big block head. But I don't think those are the reasons why we're doing pretty well. I think the reason is the advice that I got from one Bill Jones about a year ago. Many of you know Bill. He is the last elected Republican Secretary of State. He is the honorary campaign chairman to my campaign. And about a year ago, we got what I thought was going to be a nice dinner with he and his wife, Maureen, and it actually turned into a 2-hour-long interrogation of me. But in the end, Bill leaned across the table and he said, Pete, you know, you're a great candidate. You've got this background in civic engagement and technology at Pepperdine. It really does align you well with this office. But you're a Republican running for statewide office in California, and that's a problem. And then he said this. He said, sometimes you just need to be the guy in the water when the big wave hits. And that's proven prophetic, right? Because I think this year, for a few reasons, like Leland Yee, for example, right, who was running for this office, was once the favorite for this office. For the fact that we saw the Toyota headquarters move out of Torrance, we've seen many businesses leave this state. I don't think we're going to see a tsunami this year, but I think we're going to see what we see in Malibu every day when I go to work. We see great little 5 and 6 foot rolling sets come in. And when those sets come through, they can take 4 or 5 surfers at the same time with no problem. And I think this particular year, we've got a chance for at least 2 statewide offices. I think mine is a great opportunity. We had independent polling come back last week that showed us actually leading this race by 3 points. I think in the controller race with Ashley Swearingen, there's another great opportunity there. That if we, with all the losing we've had statewide, if we can turn it around this year, I think this is the year that we don't become a 2-party state. We become a 1.5-party state. And we only get to be a 2-party state after we become a 1.5-party state. And we only get to be a 1.5-party state when we turn around and we flip a couple of these statewide offices. And in these races where there's no incumbent, and if you're an outsider from Sacramento and you can make the case that you're the most qualified candidate, then I think there's a unique opportunity this year. So I'm really excited to be here. I thank you all for volunteering and being a part of really one of the more important areas of the county, selfishly for me, because I have to do well here if I want to close the gap in LA County, and I have to close the gap in LA County if I want a chance of winning this statewide race. So thanks all for coming, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Peter is someone we all know very well. So I've had really the privilege and honor of working with him for many years now. Well, he was in the state legislature, and now as a Board of Equalization member. Most of us have known him since for quite a long time. And he's really been a leader for the Republican parties in keeping things focused on doing what's right for California residents, doing what's right for taxpayers, and he's continuing that fight at the Board of Equalization. And we appreciate that, and I'd like to introduce George Runner.
I feel like I ought to be selling something up here. I guess I am. Thank you. It's good to be here, and thank you for being here. You know, as we talk about these races coming up, we're going to win because of people like you who are coming out, who are investing themselves, who are saying, hey, not only am I going to come out to this opening of a headquarters, but I'm going to be here to take phone calls, make phone calls, knock on doors, because that's really what it is. It really is a ground game here in the state of California, particularly as we win back the state, because that's really the challenge that's before us, winning back the state of California. And you know, we're at ground zero, quite frankly, in one of those races. You're going to hear a big hearing from Tom, but this is a key place for us to make sure that turnout is there, that we win races down here, because what happens here, as Pete said, we need good votes here. We need votes out here in order to help distance us from in some of those other districts. I have my district, you know, starts in LA down in San Fernando Valley, where obviously we're outnumbered greatly in terms of Republicans and Democrats. Through here and then all the way up through the Central Valley and up to the Oregon border. My seat is a plurality Democrat by a couple of points. Pete wishes he would have that, but it just means that we have to be serious too, and work hard to make sure that we get all the reaps out. Make sure that we get all the independents understand, and quite frankly, in California, we have to win with Democrats. We have to win with Democrats. You know, it was interesting to me. I was here the other day, and they were showing the phone system, and they were going through some of the survey information that they do on the phone system. And part of the issue, they're trying to find and identify independents and Democrats who might switch over. And they were going through and asking the idea is to ask some questions. And there's this automatic kind of, I'm a Democrat, tell me who the Democrat is, I'll vote for the Democrat, kind of an idea, until you get to the issues. And then all of a sudden they start asking about the issues, and these people sound more like Republicans. Because even in California, I believe we can win on the issues. And that's what's important for these races that we've got going. So again, I appreciate the opportunity. We're going to be working hard. It's been a pleasure for me to represent the Antelope Valley for many, many years now. I should tell you, Sharon says her greetings. So I'm glad she's here with me over here. Sharon is back up in Sacramento. We have a nephew who plays for the Minnesota Twins. The Twins are playing Oakland. And so we have some interest in issues that are going on over in Oakland right now. So we'll be going back up there and cheering on our nephew. But in case you're watching him, his name's Casey Fiend. He's a relief pitcher. Pitched 1 inning last night. Got 2 strikeouts and did great. So anyhow, but anyhow, appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for being here, and I know we're all going to work together and see what great
Our next guest, George talked a little bit about how important this race is, and let's just say what it is. None of us expected to be here needing to take out a Democrat in this area. Mistakes have been made in the past, but Tom Lackey's here to fix them. We have a great discussion to have with the voters on this. We have an incumbent who 2 years ago when he was campaigning promised he wasn't going to raise taxes. He's raised taxes over $2.3 billion just with 1 vote. And we have a man named Tom Lackey who, as you all know, and the people of this valley know, is a man who keeps his word. So with that, I'd like to introduce Tom Lackey.
This is a big load for a guy from Moron. Let me begin by keeping my word. My wife is not here because she has partial collapsed lung and she's recovering from a fall, and she's going to be fine. But she wanted me to share that message because we don't want to be interpreted as something it's not. She's clearly behind this effort. So please understand her absence today. I'm not a polished politician, for lack of a better word, and I think we need to try to eliminate the negative stigmas with the word politics, because politics is part of our lives. And what's happened is we've had people that are in power, and people that have been entrusted with a sacred responsibility that have abused that. And so we need to try to build that name back up. I'm not going to apologize for being a politician, because I think it's important that I try to rebuild this great country has done so many good things and why we become so strong. But we're starting to lose our way, everybody. And I never envisioned myself standing in the position that I am now. As you know, I'm a retired highway patrol sergeant, so I know quite a bit about vehicles. And guess what? Now I'm a vehicle for something much bigger than I ever thought. In case you guys don't realize this particular seat, this assembly seat, is considered by many the #1 target seat in the state of California. This is a take-back that has to take place in order for us to erode that dominant 3/4 majority, supermajority that exists and that has resulted in so many damaging pieces of legislation that have caused our economy not to be competitive. What a terrible position that they have put us in, but what an exciting opportunity for every one of you. So I thank every one of you for having the interest to be here on a Saturday afternoon where you can do whatever you want. You're here because you believe in this great country, you believe in this state, for heaven's sake. We have got to get this back. Now, the days of the runner and night dominance are gone, everybody. We have got to work. We have got to work, and we've got to be honest and genuine with people. And when we have a position that differs, let's make our point. Let's not try to cast it as something that it's not, and let's not apologize. And let's not be mean-spirited. Let's not be nasty with those that disagree with us. we can actually be more compelling by focusing on the way we deliver as much as what we deliver. Otherwise, they ignore us. We've got inroads to make. And I promise you, one thing I enjoy is to try to be compelling. And I think if you look at my background, one thing that I'm very proud of, and I'm only proud of it because I had great influences. Darn it, I promised myself I wasn't going to do this. Please bear with me for just a second. But I had parents that taught me what really makes people successful. And one thing you should know about me is I'm a person of faith, and I'm darn proud of it. And it's not something we should apologize for or that we should have to teach. But you know what? We don't have to be of the same faith. But we need to collectively pull together the things that make us strong and not apologize for them or be embarrassed about them or argue about them. We have things to do, ladies and gentlemen. We have important things to do. And one thing I'm proud of is the compass that has been established because of good people like you. I'm just the product of good influence, and I'm darn proud of everybody that's made me who I am. And we're going to do something very exciting, and something that people who don't even know me expect me to do. You should know that every day I pray for the strength to do what's right in this challenge. And you will give my best effort, and we're going to get this darn thing back. The person that we have doesn't deserve to have the title he does. I'm not going to say anything mean about him, but I promise you in this campaign you will know where he's let us down. That's my responsibility, our responsibility, and we're going to get this back. So thanks everybody for being here.
We're going to be working real hard at this office to make sure that we have a new assemblyman come November. Next up, we got another candidate who's got a long connection with the Antelope Valley. John Morris, the lead deputy district attorney here at our office during the time that we made incredible progress. Our city leaders in both Palmdale and Lancaster, Tom, Marvin, worked very hard with the sheriff's department to ensure that we were putting the bad guys off the streets. And John Morris was a big part of that. And now we're trying to replace a bad guy who is in jail. Our incumbent county assessor who has been in jail for quite some time. And we definitely need a new one. But we really only have one option that supports taxpayers, that respects Prop 13, and that's going to be on our side, and that's John Morris.
Well, thank you for that nice round of applause. I hope you'll be applauding me when I'm done. The first thing I have to say is, in looking at me, no, I'm not Pete Peterson. On my best day and his worst, I'm not Pete Peterson. If I had lost 50 pounds and colored my hair, maybe. But to introduce myself, I was the head deputy out here in the Antelope Valley. I was very fortunate to be here. And it was, sadly, the busiest branch of the entire district attorney's office. I was put here to make some changes and make things happen to better protect our community. And I really enjoyed being out here. I enjoyed going to the fair last year, and hopefully I'll be there next Friday. But what I found out here in the Antelope Valley as a prosecutor and just as a citizen, it bothered me. And quite frankly, it angered me. Because some of the things I saw shouldn't be happening. So I instituted changes to better protect all of us. And number one, being an old gang prosecutor and having tried gang murders for 9 years, one of the first things I did was I implemented a policy regarding vandalism and graffiti. Because the year before I got here, Lancaster and Palmdale collectively had spent $500,000 on graffiti removal. So I implemented a policy that everybody who committed graffiti anywhere in the Antelope Valley had mandatory jail time, because that's just the right thing to do. And one of the things that really bothered me, and would bother all of you, is sadly there were an incredible amount of residential burglaries going on here. And my feeling is, as a homeowner and as a taxpayer, that if I cannot leave my house to go to work, or even in one of our cases, leave my home to go to church without it being burglarized, then what's the meaning of home ownership? So while here in Lancaster I implemented a policy that everybody who commits a residential burglary anywhere in the Antelope Valley must go to state prison unless I say otherwise. And you know how many times I said otherwise? 0. Okay? Because and I was happy to do it because we need a change. We needed a change here in Antelope Valley. We need changes throughout the world. What I mean by that is when we have a president who has taken a victory and turned it into a defeat in Iraq, I say we need a change. When we have a situation because of the collapse in Iraq that people are actually being forced to convert at the end of a muzzle of a gun, we need a change. When we have a federal government that is constantly spying on us and running up huge debts that we will pay off ourselves and our children for years because it amounts to trillions of dollars, I say we need a change. When we have a state government with every pressing issue in the world, particularly jobs, and those that state government, because of the supermajority, instead they're focusing on pushing a social agenda that culminates in boys going potty in the girls' bathroom, I think we need a change.
Thank you. Amen.
And at every level of government, sadly, and mostly because of the Democratic control, when we see corruption, and more corruption, I think we need to change. At the assessor's office, our current assessor has been charged with dozens and dozens of counts of bribery and fraud. I think, at a bare minimum, what we should expect out of the assessor's office is not to steal from us. And that's why I think what we need in that office is a criminal prosecutor to go clean it up. The reason I became a DA and a criminal prosecutor is to make a difference. I had worked as a real estate attorney and was in real estate law for 4 years. I was making good money, but I wasn't making a difference for us. So I went to my wife and I asked her permission to take a pay cut of 1/3 to become a DA. And it was a great decision because when I did that back in 1990, 24 years ago, I started making our community a better and safer place. And I took the most dangerous assignments to do it. I worked in the hardcore gang division for 9 years, prosecuting gang murders. That's why I stand before you with white hair. I used to have to wear home a bulletproof vest at night while I was doing the murder cases. But it was important and it was worthwhile regardless of what the risk was. And I put my life on the line as a criminal prosecutor to protect us. I'm running for assessor to protect the hardworking taxpayers of our community. Because our current assessor, besides stealing from us, you know where he is right now? It's not jail, he bailed out. He's at home collecting his full salary and benefits. A salary of over $200,000 a year for doing nothing. He stole from us while he was in office and he's cheating us now. I think there has to be a change. So my first day in office, I'm implementing a new policy that no work means no pay. And that if I or any later assessor cannot serve because of pending criminal charges, we forfeit our salary and benefits. That's just the right thing to do. And I think the other right thing to do is that we have to continue protecting Proposition 13 because there is a small group of politicians, both in California, locally, and federally, who know that if they keep handing out money to special interests, they can keep getting themselves reelected. And they have no qualms about using our tax dollars to do it. So thank goodness we have excellent people supporting us at the Board of Equalization. Thank goodness we have Proposition 13, and I am the only candidate in this race endorsed by the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association because I will protect all of us and keep us in our homes. All right. Why would a prosecutor run? Because of John Nogues, the current assessor. Why would every newspaper in Los Angeles County, including the Antelope Valley Press, endorse an outsider who's never been in that office? The reason is because that is exactly what we need. Insiders have run that office for 26 years. We have inefficiency, we have corruption, we have fraud. We need a change. That's why I'm asking you to vote for me. I'm asking for your help, and let's make sure we change the world for the better. So everybody, I'm John Morris. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, John. Now, as you know, we have another major race here in the Antelope Valley. For the first time in over 20 years, we have the opportunity to elect a new congressman. Steve Knight, our state senator, has served us for the past 2 years in the Senate, 4 in the Assembly, the City Council before that. You know Steve, you know how important this race is. The district stretches all the way from here to Santa Clarita Valley into Simi Valley. Steve's on his way back from an event in Simi Valley. As you know, the Antelope Valley has stood with Steve in every election. He's overperformed every other Republican on the ballot. And it's in some of these other areas, in Simi Valley, where he's not as well known, that he's spending some time introducing himself. So I know you understand that he's running a little bit behind, but he's on his way here. But it's so important for us to be here and be supportive of Steve as he goes out and does that, to make sure that we help take care of campaign efforts in the Antelope Valley to allow him to take that message into some of these newer communities. We have a couple other candidates I want to mention just briefly. The one that's not here, Rob Paris, a member of the Antelope Valley East Current Water Agency. He's been endorsed by the Republican Party for re-election. Wasn't able to be here today, but sends his greetings. As you know, we were hoping to have Neil Kashkari, our candidate for governor, here today. He had confirmed, but unfortunately had a pending issue that cropped up yesterday and had to change his schedule. So he sends his regrets. We're hoping to get him down here in the coming weeks or month to introduce you to him as well. But we certainly know Jerry Brown. And we certainly know we need a change there and to do everything we can. I'd like to close just with by just recognizing a few folks that helped make this headquarters possible. That put a lot of work into getting everything moved in. First off, when we had to move, I contacted our good friends from the Antelope Valley Republican Assembly, who are property management experts, Marvin, Marianne, and Matthew Himlin. They helped us identify this space, so if you like it, and after the election you'd like to take over the ladies, these are the folks to see. I'd also like to thank George Andrews and Elisa Arcidiacono from Tom's campaign. They're helped us get everything moved in, set up, decorated. In fact, actually the whole Arcidiacono family was here chipping in, so let's hear here for all of it. Thank you. Josh Mann is also our resident artist. He took care of the window splash for us. Marvin Christ, again, thank you for donating those tickets and providing that, and for your support on the Central Committee. And my wonderful wife, Lauren Mercy, for helping chip in and help with that.